Welcome back everybody, Broadbent here. Today we're checking out the 0.73 update for the Forest. Now this is an important one. It's not a big one, but it's a very important one. This is the final update when the game is in early access. Yes, you got that right. The next update will be taking the game out of early access and it will be a full release. This is huge news for the game. It's been in early access for about 4 years now, so it's definitely about time that it started to move out. So before we cover all of the details about the game moving out of early access, we're going to cover the update changes, which is what you're here for in the first place. Berries on bushes are now only visible when the player is up close. Players will now drop any held logs when you sit on a bench. All tree trunk colliders have been increased. This means basically you can attach things to the tree really high up if you want to do. So you could put a birdhouse at the very top of the tree. Previously you could not do this. Now when you go ahead and use a sled, the flag and interaction icons will now be hidden. So a lot of you may have noticed that if you've got a lot of projects on the go, you have a lot of yellow hammer icons. Now what they've done is made it so if you have a bunch of builds in one area and you've got loads of different yellow icons, they will all combine into one when you get far enough away from them. This just helps declutter the screen and make things easier to look at. Now you can also turn this off in the options menu if you do not like it. They have rebalanced saplings to work better with the machete. This is just to make the machete a little bit more relevant, I guess. You can now throw spears and shoot arrows through stick fences and bone fences. This could be really useful for a defensive strategy if you want to set up a perimeter around your base. It is now no longer possible to build things under the stairs or in the pillars of the large raft. If you've got your plastic torch equipped, it is always a difficulty trying to light a fire stick in your hand. Well, now it will auto switch to the lighter if you attempt to light it. Very nice indeed. The main menu save slots has been rearranged slightly. No longer are they in a grid, they are in a line. And this also applies for multiplayer. Also, when you go ahead and create a new game, you have the difficulty selection screen. That has all been rearranged to be a little bit more descriptive and straightforward. You can now no longer place the catapult down in somewhere where it doesn't have enough room for the player to use it. Now, in my testing, this has worked 50% of the time in different situations, but I assume this will get addressed in a future update. The Happy Birthday trap now also requires rope to build. You can now pick up logs while airborne, because why not? No, but seriously though, this was a bit of an issue before. It constantly caused frustrations. Really happy to see this. Dynamite will no longer go off automatically when added to a catapult. They have fixed caves not loading properly in some old save files. Also, the camera jerkiness has been fixed when moving while opening or closing the survival book. The dropped dynamite fuse is now lit in the correct place. They have fixed a few issues with scale on dropped sticks. You'll no longer find floating geese at the lakes. Sad to see them go. Have you ever had that really annoying bug when if you light a piece of cloth on your axe, put it out and go to relight it again, but it's disappeared? Well, that's now fixed. They have fixed an issue with sharks sometimes disappearing for clients when being killed. Turtles will now drop head trophies when skinned. They have fixed all remaining issues with combining the recurve bow and arrows to set the active bonus. Have you ever noticed when you cook your victim's head on a fire and they don't have any eyeballs? Yeah, now they do. They finally fixed a few issues with the beach huts and props where if you came into range, items popped in and started flying everywhere. Well, that's now been fixed. Sometimes when opening keycard doors, you would be re-equipped with the wrong weapon, but now it will equip you with the correct weapon. Down in the sinkhole was apparently a very dangerous place. You could get stuck in some areas, but those have now been patched up. They have fixed a very strange bug where enemies would stand up after being killed and dropped from a noose trap. That's an odd one. You can now equip your lighter and light fires when holding a dead body. They have fixed a few issues with arrows not properly sticking to the end boss. They have fixed the keycard sometimes disappearing when opening a door in the end game section. And alongside that, they've also fixed a few lighting issues when walking in and out of the end game entrance. Now when you complete a log sled, the flag cloth color will now be set automatically. As always, if you're running a dedicated server, you'll need to restart your server with the latest version for it to be compatible with the 0.73 patch. So in the patch notes, the developers shared a few of their plans for moving the Forest out of early access and into the full version 1 release. So I can tell you're all asking straight away, when is this going to be released? Well, we don't actually know that yet. The devs said that they're working towards the end of April for a release date, but they will have an exact release date when we're a little bit closer towards April. They've also said, quote, "We have some really crazy and fun surprises in store, especially regarding the ending and are really excited to see what people think. Now this is heavily open to interpretation here, and you can sort of get your own ideas of what they're going to do, what they're going to change. Now they also opened up the opportunity for a VR game mode. This would be absolutely crazy. Just imagine the horror you would get from playing The Forest in VR. The devs have stated that they will be providing more details about VR when we get towards the full release. The devs plan to officially support languages, and better controller support will be added. Now currently in the game you do not get any reward for killing the larger mutants. There's no payback other than, for example, defending your base. Well, the team has been planning to give you more reasons and resources for killing them, which is very, very good to hear. They've also stated that they will be adding more buildables. It's always good to have more things to build and do in the game. They also plan to do a rethinking of the cold and warmth system, including a new warm suit. Now this could be anything from a full-fledged suit to being like a winter's jacket and trousers. Obviously there's going to be some big performance optimizations, especially for late game saves. Some big news for multiplayer players: you will soon in this update be allowed to change your clothing. Yes, you'll be able to choose what your player looks like. They are also expanding the clothing line just to help distinguish your friends from one another. They also plan to improve dedicated servers and the way they function. It is very bare bones at the moment, so I'd love to see some extra details go towards that. Okay, so this is all great news, but what's the catch? The catch is they're going to stop doing smaller timed patches. That means that we're not going to be getting another update until the full release of the game. Instead, they're going to focus on making big updates that are a little bit further apart. They've also said that to keep people involved, they're going to be selecting some people to help test the final release. Now currently there is no way to sign up or enroll for this testing of the full release. I assume either they're going to handpick people or they're going to deal with that later on. Alright, so I guess that rounds up The Forest Early Access. That's it. That's the last update in Early Access. I really do encourage you to go to the comments and start a discussion or a conversation on what you would like to see in the official release for The Forest. Also, with it coming out on PlayStation very soon, I am looking forward to a lot of new features. Alright, thanks for watching everyone, and I will see you in the next video.